No incidences must not take Liberians back. You gave me 6-year mandate. Now, give me my 6 years and see what I achieve. When you are not happy, when you go to the next election, you will decide what to do. The reason I'm saying this, we have a case study in this country. We know what happened. We wanted the president to go, but we did not know that you're going to affect us. The next thing, we were in refugee camps. Our path to refugee camps is over. We are moving toward prosperity. Let us bear in mind that those little incidences must not take Liberians back to where we came from. Government continues. President Taylor was here, he left, Ellen took it. She left it somewhere, we are taking it. That's why we don't blame any government. We don't say previous government. Government continues. You never had road were not paved here. We felt that, yes, maybe the time for Her Excellency Ellen Johnson was short. We have to take it from there. When we leave it, someone will take it from there. But without peace and stability, no one can take it from nowhere. Yeah, it's a common example and simple one. You are mandated to host or to organize a local elections. Your elections is not the president prerogative. We don't meld into a constitutional matter. They say community elections. You, the community, have to get together to make sure that the election is free and fair. Because you know, Liberians, they're quick to say, oh, because the president is there, that why that person win. When you will learn to do things on your own. Why are we complaining every day? When you will learn to do something on your own. There's a community election, he said twice. He suspended it for what? For leadership, for power. Why you people, most especially Gibraltarians, why don't you take my example? And all Liberians.
I want to ask you a question. What is the vision you have over the period of 12 years under the stewardship of Madam Shadi that he could not deliver, that he wanted to deliver this time around?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take this according to the line. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much for having the former vice president in studio, because some of us, we hold the view that this former vice president is just being used to support the English project, but it was spirit around town that come from resident here with bypass. So I think the former vice president was linked to two issues, but the first issue is this issue for the block voting in the unity party. I think
Okay, can we not get that call? Let's take this one. Yes, let's hear from you.
So, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Okay, let's take this call on the line quickly. Hello?
Hey guys, there's good evening to you, good afternoon to you, wherever you are. This is Jay Randy here, and thank you guys so much for the opportunity. It's Saturday from my end here, and I am home today, sitting in my home office, and I would like to say welcome to every one of you guys. It's election season in Liberia, and there are a lot of things that's supposed to be taking place today and from now to October the 10th. So my role here is to come here and tell you guys that the long suffering you've been going through, well, this is the opportunity now for you to be able to make an informed decision. And how do you get that informed decision? Is to think independently, is to listen to people who here to give you an independent thought. Because you know why? If you understand and you understood that you went through another 6 years of hard time, and today you are back again in another circle of this time election, it is very, very important that you make that decision that will be able to help you up prepare for a better future for you and your children. Am I here to convince you not to vote for your political leader? Absolutely not. And I'm here to tell you to not vote at all? I would say not. But what I'm going to tell you is I want you to look at how long you've been in Liberia, the difficult times you went through, the hardship you went through. This is the time that you need to think about all the difficult times that you went through and ask yourself, what did I achieve during the Eddie administration? What was better during the Eddie administration after 12 years? Now, what did I achieve? What progress did I make from this WIA administration? Those are things that you need to think about and decide whether or not you think this election is going to be viable for you. I'm not here to put things down your throat. I'm just here to inform you of things that I think you need to listen to, right? Because the reality there is whatever decision that is made in Liberia, it is you that are going to incur that decision. It's not me. I'm not going to be the one to go through that decision. I'm just here to help you understand what I think you need to know. Yeah. So just to help you guys to understand. All right. I don't live in the country. And oftentimes I got messages on my text, on my phone from most of you guys in the country. I mean, how long will that continue? How long will that continue? So this is the time that you need to pay attention to the reality. But from what I'm seeing now, this is the third week, or this is the third Saturday since the election campaign season opens. I am yet to see, and I'm yet to understand from the three major candidates that include the president, the former vice president, and Mr. Alexander Cummings. I am yet to see, I'm yet to understand why they think they should be re-elected or why they want to be president. I'm not seeing those things. The only thing I'm seeing every day are members of the different political party wearing their beret, wearing their emblems, either they attacking somebody or they gathering somewhere and listening to information that we, I believe, already know. So what does that put you as a Liberian? And you as a Liberian, what are the concerns in your community? What are the concerns in your community? What do you see over the past 6 years that have been bothering you to say, you know what, J. Randy, I understand what you're talking about. This community, we have no security, no education, no water. I think these are things that I need to present to my lawmaker who is running for re-election or to the aspirant who is running. These are things that I think as a community we need to present to anyone, including the president who comes to our community. Oftentimes I see the president coming to the community and just be the one that is doing the talking. It doesn't work that way. There should be a question and answer period from the community. That's how you will understand whether the person understands your condition or the person is only here to tell you what he or she will do for your community. These things are not discussed on the other platform. And I can tell you, folks, come next year around this time, pretty close to a month after this coming election, Liberian will start complaining again. And you know why Liberian will start complaining? Because those who are seeing many Liberians are paying attention to, they are only telling them what they think they know of the political leaders, and they are, they are not telling them what they need to understand that are challenges in their environment to be able to tell the people, say, look, here are things that you need to be able to tell any political aspirant of your community or your county or the national issue. We are in the fourth, the test month, week of our election. And I'm yet to see any community coming up with a problem. You listen to me right now. What are some of the challenges you have? What are some of the challenges you have in your community? What are some of the challenges you have? Does that have to do with education? Does that have to do with health? What are some of the challenges you have in your community? These are things that are not being discussed, folks. People are only coming to only discuss what they think the party will do for you. But how sure are you that that party is going to do that thing for you? When you are not the one that presenting the problem, or somebody come here making that problem of yours, making it on their show for you. You follow me on this? You see, these are some of the lapses that we suffer for 170 years. Yes, because Mr. We took office when we were 170. He been there now for 6 years. So these are some of the lapses that we suffer for 170 years. So for the 6 year Mr. We have been there, he's running for re-election. What can we use since we have the proliferation of Facebook, where you can sit from anywhere and I can sit from anywhere and listen to you and you can listen to me? What are some of the things that you think you need to understand, folks? This is an interactive conversation. Don't be a stranger here. Because I can tell you, whatever we say on the platform, in the end, we will come back here and tell you guys that we told you so. We told you that the country was not going to be any better. If you don't challenge your political experiment today, because one thing I have observed in the Liberian community, every Liberian you see on Facebook, most especially from Liberia, we are so partyistic. It's like tribalistic. We are so partyistic. It's like tribalistic. The art of being a tribal person is to take side with your tribal group. The art of being tribalistic is to listen to your political leaders. But what about those who are in the middle? Where is your part? Where is your nationalistic ideas, belief? So what I observe, and I'm glad that I'm taking this approach, because in the end, I will be the one to come on my platform and say, yes, I told you guys so. You know what I'm trying to say to you folks? The Unity Party people will say, don't go and listen to that Randy guy. He's not in the interest of Burka. The CDC people will say, don't go and listen to J. Randy. He's not in the interest of Joshua. The ANC people will say, do not listen to J. Randy. He's not in the interest of Cummins. But here's my question. What is Cummins saying that would benefit the people who support Joshua? What is Joshua saying that will benefit the people of Cummins and Burka? What is Burka saying that will benefit the people of Joshua and Cummins? If every political leader through the rank and file of their party is telling their member, don't listen to this person, don't listen to the person, but they should only listen to the party. So it means that if that party wins, only a member of that party will benefit. That is something that I am not supporting on my platform here. What I'm supporting on my platform here is whatever Cummins says, it should be in favor of sedition, UPIS, and of course the independent Liberians. Whatever George Weah is saying, it should not only be for sedition, it should be for Liberians who are part of the Unity Party, who are supporters of Cummins, and that go around the horn. And how do we come to that common denominator? It is by coming on a platform that will be in the middle. You see, folks, I have been studying Liberian politics for the past 12 years now, going on 13. The partyistic idea is not going to do anything for us. It's not going to do anything for us. It's only going to make us to be a part of a political party, but it's not a movement that was supposed to take the country forward. So you can see it here. You can see exactly what I'm telling you. You can see it here. Folks will come and just come on the platform and say, oh, this guy was talking something about Cummins. Let me get out of here. Another people will come and say, oh, this guy was talking about something about Burka. Let me get out of here. Folks will come and say, I'm talking about Joshua. No, it doesn't happen that way. You see, one of the check and balance that we have in this country we live today are institutions that don't take side with government policy or political party policy. They tend to what? Balance of things. That's what they try to do. They tend to what? Balance of things. So as you come on the platform, I want you to understand that we are not here just to preach about your political party. No, we are here to discuss your political party. This one thing to discuss is another thing to preach. I'm not here to preach to you. I am here to discuss things that your political party is doing. Because if you measure the sources in the country, all right? If you measure the sources in the country, What can you say? Boca is over there. He served for 45 years as a public servant, right? And he served with Ellen for 12 years. But when Boca take to the stage, he's not relating his message to what he has accomplished, providing services in the different roles he served for the past 45 years, and along with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. He get on the stage and talk about things that has no connection with what he has done in the past. Now, when you listen to Mr. Weir, almost everything that Mr. Weir is saying, there might be things that you see, but the question here is, I don't think coming from Mr. Weir agenda, or is it a collaboration of the IMF, the World Bank project that the president is talking about? How do we know? How sure are we? Now, in addition to that, what about your well-being? It is one thing to have roles, to have buildings, but what about your self-promotion, your self-development? How many of you guys today in the last 6 years can say, you know what, Randy, I was not working, now I got a decent job. Randy, you know what, I never had health care on Ellie, now I got health care. Randy, you know, on Ellie, the security in my community was bad, now I got security in my community. Those are personal community-based initiatives that you should be proud of. You see, there's a photo that is masquerading on Facebook right now of this guy they call Akara's grave. This guy been in there, I think, for 6 or 12 years. He's walking in the community that he represented for 6 years or 12 years. I don't know the length of time. But he's walking in the community and there are pillows or rocks that he's walking over. And then he said he wants to be re-elected. I mean, think about the physical, pictorial image of that picture. Do you really think that guy came to power with the intention of changing the community? Do you really think so? You be my guest. 6 years in office. What was his priorities? What was his plan? How much did he understand about the challenges in that community? Now, after 6 years, we still see picture image of him and others stepping on a pillow or rock to get across from one house to another house within the same district he represents. What does that tell you about his style of leadership? So these are things that we want you to understand on the platform, Liberians. When will we ever reach the age of reasoning to say, you know what, I have a political party, but there's no rule that should prevent me from going out there and listening to somebody with independent mind? Are we at the stage of denying research, logical thinking to make an informed decision, or because of political attachment? Think about the years that our country has been in existence, fellow Liberians, and the level and honor development that we are added to our country. You know what you know what is that the case? Because the people who were part of the two-way party, that led our country for 133 years, the same way today's generation is applying their loyalty to party, it's the same way those people who led our country for 133 years, it's the same thing they did. The only thing is different time and different era, but the same thing is happening. So what makes you think by 2047 that Liberia will be a better country when the same mindset, but this time around is with different generation, where we don't want to hear people who are telling us the truth for our own benefit, for our own promotion? What is so wrong with that, folks? What is so wrong with that? Ellen was there for 12 years. What changed in the country? Can anybody tell me what changed in the country since Ellen was there for 12 years? Can somebody tell me when Ellen was there for 12 years? What had changed? Let somebody tell me. What had changed? Since the time Ellen was, when Ellen was there, what had changed? What can you say about that? What can you say about that, folks? What can you say about Ellen? She was in there for 12 years, right? So what did she do now? What did she change? What did she make better for you? And what is we are doing today? I want answer. Somebody help me here. You want to have a conversation? Come here, let's discuss. Come, let's discuss, folks. Don't be ashamed. Come, let's discuss. Send me a request right now. Come, let's discuss. You want to talk on the phone? I'll turn the phone on. Come, let's talk. Can't let's stop, because I can guarantee you nothing going to change after this election. You will be going back to the same suffering, the same hardship, the same calling Liberians in America and in Europe for help. Why? Because you guys are not ready for change. You guys are willing to commit yourself to things that kept the country behind for 133 years. You guys are not willing to do that change this election that is coming. So I can guarantee you can have all the election, whether it is George Weah, whether it is Boca coming, whoever get elected, Liberia is not going to make any progress. We're going to go back into the same drive, and we're going to move the country in the same direction. That is the fight. If you don't hear the fight, you don't accept the fight, because election should be about the central message. The central message of any election is to identify the problems, provide a solution, and tell the people the direction of the country. This is the third week of our election. I have never heard anything from Cummings, not a Boca. Mr. Weah have been doing his best, elaborating on the little project that he has done over the past 6 years. I understand that. That's perfect. But what about you and your community? What about your health and the health of your children? What about job opportunities? All right. What about your opportunities? It's not the matter of you wearing the political uniform and going out there and masquerading in the street. There are young people in Kenya. There are young people in Ghana. There are young people in South Africa, Rwanda, that are of the same age as many of you guys out there. But you know what they are doing today? They are principally and they are focused on what? On their goal in life. Because they are working with lawmakers across their country who are really setting a path for them to succeed. Because by the time you read the year 2030, I'm not hearing anybody talking about a vision that will challenge the tax ahead in the year 2030. I'm not seeing nobody doing those things. I think people are getting so complacent because of the mere fact that Liberians live in other country and they enjoy the pleasure of living in other country, so they don't really care at this time to say, you know what, let me try to do X, Y, and Z. So what are we going to do here? We're going to come here every time. We're going to provide the information that we think is missing or are missing for this election. So I'm just going to tell you that I'm not going to be coming here to tell you, say, oh, yes, let's go and vote for George Weah, go and vote for Boca, go and vote for Cummings. No, I am only here to discuss with you guys the risks that will be associated with the decision you're going to be making. And if you don't make that right decision, my fellow Liberians, you are going to be in for a big problem. Yes, you are going to be in for a big problem. This is not something that I want to discourage you about, but there will be time that you will have to face yourself, all right? And ask yourself whether you made a rightful decision or a wrong decision. The country is divided politically. We are not uniting ourselves to take on the challenges of the problem in the country. The country is divided politically. Like how you see here. Hold on there, guys. Let me see. I'm getting a feedback. Let me just put this thing on quickly here, and I'll be right back. All right?
Hello?
Listen to this. I'll be right back.
Hello? No, we can continue with this one. Yes, go ahead quickly. I don't know where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is John from the County of Gambasa County.
Okay.
Yes, I want to ask a question. You asked the critical question, and he answered it, and just for his end, he feels that relationship between him and he's cooking. And I want to know what his relationship now in terms of working, in terms of after the presidency that both of them left, the relationship between he and the former president, Madam Sali, because rumors have been around that they are not in good relationship. Finally, if the CPP primary, if you have to win the CPP primary, what are you still making to support the winner? Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Hello?
All right.
Hello? Hello? Okay, it seems that we're not getting on this line. Let's just take this line. Hello? Yes, your name and where you calling from?
All right, so let me go down. All right, so I'm back here again. All right, so I'm back here, guys, and thank you there. I had my alarm was set off, so I had to go and shut it off. So again, as I was saying, this election, I am not going to be supporting any political party, but what I will be doing is to tell you what the political party are saying to you. I know some of you guys are not going to listen, and I know that some of you guys are going to go right back to the enormous or massive suffering in our country. And some of you guys will be committed to going back there. And I do understand also too, and make no mistake, Liberians. One thing I noted about our political culture, when you get up to provide constructive criticism, they're going to cut away from you. That's something that will continue to harm that country. Whether you are a professional person who believe in your professional standards, once you criticize whether it is the government or any political party, you are completely done for that country. You are done. So the road that we have taken on the platform to say we are going to provide constructive criticism, here's what I want you to understand. You will never ever hear any successful party in our country to say, you know what, let's fix things. This guy criticized us. Let's see what he can do. That will never happen. It will not happen on a Wea. It will not happen on a Boca. It will never happen on a Cummins in this generation. Why? Because they take things so personally. When you criticize them, they take things so personally. But other countries, even at your place of work, you can look at your boss and say, look, with all due respect, I think you are wrong. The boss will say, you know what, let's look at this. Let's dig into it. And they will see reason. So you are dealing with a society. You are dealing with a people that are passing along personal grudge onto the younger generation. Now, when you look at that, do you think there is a better future for Liberia anytime soon? Absolutely not. There's no better future. So because they are teaching our younger generation not to be open up to what? To criticism, not to accept their wrongs and work with you. They are teaching them to be very resistant towards any open criticism. So make no mistake, we are taking the greater risk of our lifetime, not of our generation, but of our lifetime. Those are us who are on this platform that see things that are wrong and we decide to talk about it in a professional way. We are the most hated and rejected people in our society called Liberia. Whether you are a medical doctor, an engineer, pharmacist, business tycoon, as long as you come out and speak to the wrongs in our society, you are being marked as the rejected ones in our society. And that is why the country is not making progress. And this is not only limited to this current administration, not of the past administration. This is an ongoing generational mindset of how things are done. And that is why today you will find many Liberians in different part of the world will tell you, hey, my man, I gotta go back to that country. I want to say anything. So people will personally go to other countries and be able to do what? They will be able to invest in their own self, develop themselves, and then forget about the entire country as far as what is wrong in the country. That is why today, when you look at the homes that people build in Liberia, most of the homes that are built by people who have are different from the homes that are being built by those who don't have. What do I mean by that? Those who have, they build their home with iron bars around it, security gate, high-rise fence. The reason they're doing that is because the society is not safe. The reason they're doing that is because they took side with people who got money, or those who left from here that got money, they decide to protect themselves. That alone tells you that there is a great difference between the security in the community. People who don't have, they are vulnerable to crimes. People who have, they show you the kind of maximum security they have. Why? Because when we talk about bringing community security to benefit all, and when a particular institution or a government is not doing those things and you go speak against it, they turn against you. They see you as their enemy. They never work with you. They don't want to work with you. That's how the country is being run. That's how the country is being run. That's the kind of society we got. So make no mistake, folks. J. Randy, you will never find any government official or any government working with G. Randy, because you know what? They are understood now. They are figured out that this guy, he mean business. He means when he see wrong, he tell the wrong. You see, when he came to Boca, I started asking for Boca medical record. Boca want to be president. This man was seen and it was published, and we have video records of Boca being in EAW hospital. There were people who went there when Lofa was about to play, I think Nimba in the final, and the guy went to Boca and said, "How you doing here?" But Boca, as a former vice president, public official, instead of telling the Liberian people about his well-being, which is a ethical requirement, because in order for you to be a leader to take over the highest office in the land, you need to be in your functional mental state of mind. But do you know up to today that Boca has not come out to tell you that what has happened to him, the doctor note has been issued to him and say he's okay to go back to work? How many of you guys today who went through some type of illness that were put on restriction by a doctor, or you got a visit from the doctor? Oftentimes when you go visit the doctor, they issue you doctor note, right? How many times have you guys listened to me right now that have some level of injury and the doctor put you on restriction, and then in order for you to get back to work, the doctor have to issue a doctor note? It's not only limited to you. You got someone who want to take charge of the office of the president of Liberia that everyone in that country look up to, with different and quadruple problems. And this man is telling you that 2017 election, his heart decided to malfunction because of the political pressure. He sat down for 6 years or 5.5 years. By the time you hit January 2023, the very heart of his started to malfunction. And there's nobody in their rightful mind to say, look, in order for the Boca man to be elected as president, we want to know his health. But when you go ask that question, guess what? The Boca people will not only insult you, they will start to bring other cases out there. So what justification does it provide for somebody who running for the public office that we know have made an open confession that his heart malfunctioned, and because of that malfunction of his heart, he now has the pacemaker? Then people to come and challenge you. You know what that tells me? It tells me that people who are beyond Boca are there for two reasons. One, they don't give a damn to tell you the truth about who Boca is. All they want is for Boca to become president so that they can benefit themselves. That means they don't even care for Boca health. Two, they are not there to teach our people how to meet the basic ethical requirement as a leader or a potential or aspiring leader. They are not there to tell you guys. And then you know what the consequence will be? Don't ever ask yourself and say, why Liberia not doing better than Ghana? Because you, as an individual that is refusing to listen to the truth, you are also contributing to the backwardness of our country. The Nigerian president that just left office, that man was sick. Before he got into office, he told the Nigerian people about his illness. The people still accepted him. While he was in office, he spent 9 months out of the country. There is a senator in the state of Pennsylvania in the United States who suffered a stroke. He was not shot during the preliminary election primary season. He came out and told people, yes, I suffered from a stroke, but I went to see the doctor, and the doctor gave me a clean bill of health to return to participate. And guess what happened? He won the election. So what about Liberia? What about Liberia? What about Liberia? Every political aspirant should be able to provide not just their record, because you see people talk about their records, right? And people should also be able to talk about their functional and mental state of mind. But people are not doing those things. So I can tell you for free here, whether Joe, we are going there for 12 years or who coming there, Liberia will not be a better country only by 2065. The same suffering will continue. The same underdevelopment will continue. The same poverty will continue. This is not a swear. This is the behavior that I see into this generation that continue to ignore the facts and follow what? The movement. Ignore the facts and follow the movement. The movement is you running behind political party. That's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. But you're not understanding what the political party is telling you. And that's a sad thing. So make no mistake, you that in America here, no matter how young you are, you will still be helping your family people back home. So get prepared for another 6 years, because the representative will do nothing for your family back home. The senator will do nothing for your family back home. The government will not do anything across the community. They will do partnership project. And you know what the World Bank does? The World Bank will kind of tell you, look, we want to put a building up for you. We want to do this. They're not going to tell you we're going to create jobs. They're not going to create jobs. Because right now, when you talk about the insecurity, when you talk about political violence, people run away. But you know what? I love this platform for the fact that we are on YouTube. And we'll make sure that those who come across YouTube, we'll make sure that YouTube will get to understand. Because YouTube is a massive, enormous platform that will boost your podcast out there. And that's what we'll be doing here. So we are not worried about people coming on Facebook. No, we are concerned about the message. And that's what we're saying. It will be very difficult for Liberia to be a better country anytime soon, because the younger generation, the Generation Z, and the incoming Alpha generation, the pioneers of our country, the leadership of our country, this country called Liberia, has been so very poor in leading the country and managing the country. Today, Generation Man have been macro-managed, but not looking at the facts. They are being used by the political leaders to only believe in what will benefit them personally, and not what will benefit the country as a whole. That is the risk that Liberia is facing today. And that means that Liberia will not be able to compete by the year 2030. Liberia Human Index is going to decline because there's no structure in place to move the country. Liberia is going to be outside of the gate when it comes to technology and AI advancement, because we don't have what it takes now to move that country to the level that other countries are competing. Liberia will continue to be part of the beggar of nations across the world, because we are not even setting any agenda that will make our country better. So where does that put Liberia? Well, the ranking we are right now, probably in the 180 some more, we might be going further down south in terms of our progress. Why? Because politics has taken control of our country. The young people today in our country are not focused on any personal developmental agenda for themselves. From sunrise to midday to sunset and to midnight, it's all about politics in the country. Out of 5 Liberians, it's very difficult to find one that would talk about anything outside of politics. And these are young people between the ages of 18 to 35. They got no skills to prepare for themselves and their family. They are not interested in discussing intellectual issue, technology, science. They are not interested because the politicians in the country have bamboozled their minds to only believe that all it takes in the world to be successful is to become a partisan. That is what Liberians have been trained to, folks. That is what Liberia have been trained to. They have been made to believe that the only thing that they can succeed in doing is to become a politician in our country. There are kids who are going into that mindset. There are younger people who are going into that mindset. So when you come here to discuss anything outside of politics, the community of people in Liberia don't buy that idea. They don't buy that idea. When you look at young Liberians and say, look, why don't you look at your politician to create job for you, to become a customer rep, to become an electrician, to become a plumber or an air conditioner and or HVAC technician. The young people between the age of 18 to 35, they are not interested in that. They believe that they should always get handout from the politician. That's what they believe. They believe they should always get handout from the politician. That's what they believe. So it is difficult to take jobs to Liberia right now because many of the young people on the ground are not willing to work. They are not willing to work. They want to get all the handout from the politician. So what happened there? When the politician comes to their community, he or she is not coming to talk about their self-improvement, their self-development, because they have conditioned the mind of the younger Liberians to believe that they who are in power of authority are going to be responsible for their household. That includes the parents, the children, and that cover what? Their electric bills, their water bills, their health, and everything, which is not a good idea, right? But that's how the young people in Liberia are today. Then they are between the age of 18 to what? To 35. So whenever you come on the platform to discuss about intellectual conversation that will empower young generation, many Liberians in that country will not pay attention to you. They will not pay attention to you because they are being conditioned, or they have been conditioned by the politician in the country. They don't believe in working hard. They don't believe in working hard. They don't like to get up in the morning to be told what to do. It's honor no mandate or slavery, but it's honor their own obligation to go out there and work. And the reason for that is because the political parties in our country called Liberia in West Africa, they have trained the mind of the young generation not to believe in work ethics, but to believe in political support. And supporting a political party will only help them achieve their goals. So as far as Liberia competing, that is why when you look at the statistics from West Africa, Liberia is never mentioned. Liberia is not being mentioned because the current politics in the country is not looking at competition. It's not looking at academic standard. It's not looking at research. Politicians have only built up bubbles where they are the heads, the leaders in that country. So it will be difficult to find Liberians back home to compete. And don't get me wrong, if you're having to get one or two Liberians out of the country and take them to a developed country or a developing country, even if you take them to Ghana, you take them to South Africa, you take them to Rwanda, as long as it is outside of Liberia, that handful of Liberians that will travel to that part of the world, not to mention Europe of America, they got their potential. They got potential to do things. But as long as they remain in Liberia, that potential will never be tapped into. So I'm not saying that Liberians are just naturally unwilling to work. What I'm saying, Liberians back home, as long as they remain in a political bubble that are taking charge of that country, they are not going to do anything for themselves but look up to politicians. And that is why they gave politicians 6 years. They don't vote on issue. Liberians do not vote on issue. They vote on party line. And voting on the party line simply means, when you vote for me, I will take care of your family. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. But the reality there is the country is still living on a risky path. There are more crimes. There are high rate of uneducated people. And the economic situation in the country is worse. This has been going on for a very long time. It's not just happening under the WIA administration, but it is a political culture that many new and aspiring politicians want to continue to drive as their way of getting rich. So that's the challenge that we have today in the country, folks. And as I speak to Liberians on here, I'm also speaking to Liberians out there, that the country called Liberia is not really prepared to take on the future challenges of our country. They are not ready to do anything. They are not ready. And don't take my word for it. When you watch any platforms from Liberia, if you listen to me on YouTube right now, on my channel, if you want to dispute what I'm saying, take your time and watch any platform of Liberians. There is nothing substantial that they're going to tell you as far as whether it's climate change, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it is social improvement or advancement. There's nothing no different platform going to talk to you about. They are only going to focus on politics. And the politics objective is to condition the mind of the young people, not to think for themselves, not to have hope in what they want to achieve. They want them to only believe in the politician. And the pathway of believing in the politician is for the politician to tell them that vote for me and I will take care of your family and you. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to work, which is unrealistic in the world, which is unfair to our people. That's why it is. So every event that happening in a country is mostly about politics. There are 15 counties in Liberia. Those 15 counties, they are massively underdeveloped. Massively underdeveloped. Because the politicians in the country, they don't believe in the expansion of knowledge. Liberia got her independence in 1847. Just so you know, folks. Liberia got her independence in 1847. How many countries in Europe, in Asia, and on the continent of Africa became an independent country in 1847? Not many, right? But the country I'm talking about is called Liberia. It's where I was born. But the country is so underdeveloped that the 15 counties that made up the entire Liberia, the counties are so underdeveloped that you would think that it got independence in 2000. People had been living there, but after 23 years now, it's time to get things out. No, you would be wrong. This country called Liberia got her independence in 1847. And by Independence Day celebration, July 26, 1847 to July 26, 2023, that's 176 years. But when you get to that country, you will be very amazed. You will think that you are living in the 16th century. Do you know why the country has been like that? Because the same political goal, the same political mindset from leader of the past, of the present, they continue to use every generation, believing by telling them that they are the only people in the country that can provide them the opportunity. They encourage them to support their political party, but they don't encourage them to discuss the issue in their communities, find solution, and determine the direction of the country. They don't do those things. That's how bad the country has become. So when you visit Liberia, don't take my word for it. Nowadays, with the proliferation of internet and other sources, check the history of Liberia. Look at the Liberian Human Development Index on the global stage. But you must be going there with the intention and with the knowledge and information that this country called Liberia is 176 years old. It's 176 years old. And we'll see the statistics, those bad records that the country has accumulated over the years. It's all because of poor management of the country. Poor management of the country. You see, Liberia, after 133 years of poor management, The country was taken over by a military leader. By 1989, the military leader took office in 1980. By 1989, the entire country system collapsed. It collapsed and the country went to 14 years of civil war. 14 years. And in that war, 250,000 people died. That's just an estimate. Now, Rwanda is in East Africa. Rwanda also, a year later, went into the genocide. And many of you guys know Rwanda. What happened is Rwanda and Liberia, both countries at almost at the same time interval, got destroyed infrastructurally, systematically. Everything got destroyed. However, both countries, few months in between, peace returned to the country. Rwanda, a country that just got got independence in the 60s, I believe, or late 50s. Almost 1 million plus people died in that country. Infrastructure was destroyed in Rwanda. Paul Kagame, Liberia President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, they both started the redevelopment of their country. I don't need to tell you guys about Rwanda today. Rwanda under Paul Kagame has been the only country on the continent of Africa that received money from the United States and EU with no oversight. And today there have been many documentaries, many investors, many investments that are taking place in Rwanda. Liberia, on the other hand, received up to $1 billion in other fund donation. Debt was forgiven. But today the country is far beyond reaching any phase of sustainable development. Let me repeat myself again, folks. The country called Liberia, after receiving almost $1 billion with international support of UNIMIL, is yet to engage in any phase of sustainable development. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is nothing. Nothing has been put into place. But when you look at Rwanda, and I'll take my word for it, folks, those of you listening to me on YouTube, Google Rwanda war history and Google Liberia war history. It happens in the late 80s, early 90s. Today, the country of Rwanda, I don't want to tell you, but history, documentary out there will tell you that Paul Kagame has used the resources that were given to him for the internal purpose of the people of Rwanda. Liberia, on the other hand, I don't need to tell you. You go and find out for yourself. All you got to do, follow the different Facebook. From sunrise to lunchtime to evening hours to midnight, it's all politics. When you come across 5 Liberians and ask them, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? They cannot tell you. Why? Because they have been programmed by every political party that their future is in a politician. There is no set goals, that all land programs in a different sector to help them understand and decide what is right for them. Everything is micromanaged by the politician in the country. Everything is micromanaged. And if you dare, as a Liberian like myself, and see those wrongs that are happening, and you come and say, hey, look, guys, these guys are adults. They are 18 to 35. They can make their decision. Direct them into programs, identify a program, provide solution, and tell them the direction. You will be hated in our country. You will be disliked. you are not going to have your voice be heard in the country, because you'll be seen as what? As a spoiler. You'll be described as what? As a spoiler. Someone who is coming to spoil everything that they have put together for the past 176 years. And that thing is to manage the minds of the young people. And this has been going on from generation to generation. The country is underdeveloped. The country is underdeveloped. Academically, we cannot compete. Industrially, we cannot compete. We import more food than the food that we produce, but we have vast land in the country. That country, like Vietnam, the Philippines, majority of the geographical land areas is engulfed with water. They are able to supply us with food. But we, on that continent of Africa, we look up to other countries for food. That's how Liberia is challenged today. And the world needs to understand that there are good Liberians out here. But because of the political culture of exclusion, because you speak the truth, they are not going to give you the opportunity. But there are massive people in the country who are uneducated, that don't have access to the internet. But guess what? Those who are in charge of the different political parties, whether it's political party in the government structure or political party that is in waiting, they all got their own game plan. The moment a Liberian start to speak the truth, that brings every one of them together. That is the political party and the structure of the government. They're going to say to each other, we will not give that guy any public opportunity to talk to our people in this country. And you know how to do it? They hire people who are being paid to come on Facebook. They tell them, don't listen to that guy. Don't listen to that guy. But you listen to me here right now. I'm giving you facts about why the country is underdeveloped. It's not something that I'm making up. Liberia got its independence in 1847. It's the only country on the continent of Africa that was never colonized. While other countries were going through colonial power of control, Liberia was free, like a bird that just came out of a cage, but she was never in a cage. And Liberia had received more money than any other country in Africa. But today, after 176 years, the massive underdevelopment, infrastructurally, human element, even coping with climate change, the massive unwillingness to compete, to meet obligation, to meet national and international agenda, is not a motivation that is in our country. So as a result, many Liberians back home don't even talk about anything that has to do with climate change, that has to do with their own self-empowerment. It's only the politicians that speak on their behalf. But the politicians are spending 6 or 9 years in office. 6 or 9 years in office. There are some politicians that are still in office or service from the day Obama became president, from the time Trump became president. They're still there because some of them are giving 9 years in office. And what can they show about that? Absolutely nothing. 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 And the legislative branch of the country is like Congress. They take almost 95% of the budget. And do you know what they say about the budget? They tell you and I that they need our budget to feed people in their county, to provide welfare for their people. That means they are training the population of people to be freeloaders. None of the lawmakers in our country will ever talk about job creation. No. Their philosophy of job creation is based on the fact that they must get huge chunk of the budget and put it in their pocket. And then they go from community to community and give every household peanuts. But the very people are living in extreme poverty. Whatever they're giving to them in terms of financial assistance cannot meet their daily needs, such as putting food on the table, sending their children to school, to looking after their health and their security, nothing of the sort. But the people themselves, they are being so conditioned due to political illiteracy and due to the original illiteracy of not being educated. They think that those little handouts that are given to them is satisfactory for them. Now, when you leave from here to go and educate them, that look, your lawmaker is a public servant. He or she should be advocating to provide job opportunities, ensure security in your community, because they are not educated to these things. They see you as the enemy. And the lawmaker who gave them a little financial assistance will come to them overnight and say, you see that guy they call Randy? Don't listen to him. And the reason they're telling them is because when you open their eyes and say this lawmaker is a public servant, you have to identify the problem in your community and make sure that he or she works with this community to provide solution. They don't want you to say that to them. They don't want you to say that to them. And that is the problem we have in our country. That is the problem we have in our country. Yes, that's the problem we have in our country. So many politicians today are using our tactics to bamboozle the mind of our people. That is what it's doing. So if this is your first time coming on the platform by way of YouTube, because right now I'm broadcasting on YouTube now, I want to encourage you not to just look at me, but begin to research into Liberia and begin to share this YouTube video on your platform and let people be educated about Liberia. This country, youth population is going to become a huge liability in time to come, especially as we get toward 2030. The youth population in the country is around 65%. The population right now is about 5 million. So 65% of 5 million, you are averaging, I believe, around 350,000 individuals. That's just an estimate. That is what is at risk. They don't have no skills. Majority of them are not high school graduates. And they're just in the community. And another thing that is now being introduced into Liberia is drugs. Drugs is being introduced into the country. Imagine a country with a huge young population of people that are on and unemployed, and you bringing in drugs. That is going to create a very unsafe environment for investors, because you know more than I do when it comes to drugs. But that's something that is being introduced in the country now. It is one thing to live in extreme poverty and live as someone who is unemployed. It is another thing to see drugs coming into that country. That is very, very scary. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say a big thank you. We have reached the hour mark. For those watching on Facebook, I know you belong to a political party. I know your political leaders are telling you don't listen to J. Randy. I got it. I understand that. But we will let the world know through Facebook that it is not just poverty or unemployment, but now drugs is about to enter Liberia. And we'll make sure that investor will contact us. If you want to invest into Liberia, the best person to talk to right now is J. Randy right here. I'm not going to give you political talk. I'm going to give you a real understanding of our country. I was born in that country. I know how that country operates. I know how the politician thinks, and I know the plan the politician got for the young people today. It is not a good plan. As far as the government goes, the government does not believe in professional people. The government was one time a party too, but coming to power, they brought in that party loyalty. What do I mean by that? If you critique the government based on what they had not done correctly and provide a constructive criticism, they sideline you. They completely disassociate themselves from you. Why? Because they don't like to be criticized. But we operate in a democratic system of governance. But the government is not willing to do those things. So the government is also part of the challenges that we have in the country. And that's why I often say to Liberians back home, if they think that the government will provide a solution for them, they are completely mistaken. Government is not going to provide a solution. Why? Because the government is part of the problems. And one of the examples I just gave you is when you see the government doing something wrong and you try to tell them the truth, they completely silence you, they disconnect from you, and they see you as an outsider. They will never ever engage you into any conversation. And that is why professional Liberians around the world, they remain to where they are. They only visit the country and become very silent or quiet. They visit their family members and then they come right back to where they belong, a country where they can express themselves. So that is another contributing factor that is also keeping the country behind. So join me later on. Subscribe if you're on Facebook. Follow me if you're on YouTube. Subscribe. We will continue to inform the world and our fellow Liberians about the backwardness of our country called Liberia that is located on the west coast of Africa. Bad governance is the key or is the root cause of the backwardness of our country. Bad governance. And everything I explained made of that bad governance. That's why it is. So I'd like to say a big thank you to you guys. So to all my friends on Facebook, join me this evening. We'll be discussing politics. And if you're on Facebook this evening, if you're on YouTube, we'll be discussing the politics in the country. You're going to see the political leaders. You're going to listen to them. Our focus on the election in Liberia is to see who is discussing the issue, who is providing a solution, and where they want to take the country. I want to invite you, if you're on YouTube, to come and listen and find out for yourself. So please don't forget to share the video. We are challenged. We are challenged because we come with the truth. And because we come with the truth, who's calling me here again? We are challenged because we come with the truth. We are challenged because we come with the truth. And the truth itself is something that many Liberians don't like to hear. And we'll make sure that we preach the messages to the people. All right? So until then, have yourself a great day. God bless you guys. And I'm out of here. Goodbye to everyone.